Howdy there, it's Nanny from Seamstressed, and today I will show you how to sew a corset. I will do things differently this time. There will be no sketching because I myself have no idea what I will do, but I have an idea in mind. And may I tell you that this belongs to a 5-episode costume design. I will be a dragon in the next medieval fair because I want to. And this is episode number 2. Let's get this started, shall we? I understand that for some of you, me included, sewing a corset can be a little bit challenging, especially if you are not into pattern making or calculating or math. I have a solution for you, and that's called the plastic wrap method. All you need is a roll of that plastic wrap that you use in the kitchen to put food away and a roll of duct tape of your choice. You have to wrap yourself with a plastic wrap until the parts of your body that you wish to become a garment are fully covered. After that, you have to work with the duct tape. Pay attention to the curves or lack thereof, so you don't just put strips of tape that will press your boobs in an unflattering manner. Work with smaller pieces, following the curves. Almost all of the time you will create garments that are symmetrical, so if you want to spare a little bit of duct tape, just work on one side of your body. After you're done with your duct taping, proceed to get a Sharpie or a permanent marker and mark all the seams that you wish your garment to have. For example, here I am adding one center seam, one boob seam, one almost on the side, one on the side, and 2 on the back. One in the center back and another one dividing that piece in 2 equal parts. Make sure that you're wearing undergarments that you find flattering to you so that your boobage stays on place. Doing that, wearing nothing underneath the t-shirt is a challenge, even bigger than a normal one. You have to wear an old tank top or t-shirt. When you break yourself free from the cage of doom, you might damage the clothes that you're wearing underneath. After cutting yourself free from the plastic, just separate the pieces of your corset through the lines that you drew on yourself. Proceed to name every piece and also name which parts they attach to, otherwise you're going to get lost. After that, you have to trace everything onto paper, always reminding yourself, name the pieces and the connections, otherwise you're gonna get lost. Make sure that you proof the seams. You have to hold 2 pieces next to each other, and you hold one and you go with your finger pivoting the other one until you reach the bottom, and then you have to tweak, maybe add or cut a little bit of the pattern in order for you to have the same length on all pieces. You can either cut that to a really thick muslin or thinner muslin with a fusible interfacing. You can also choose to make a double layer muslin. Don't forget to mind the grain of the fabric while cutting this, and then proceed to cut all of the pieces, also thinking about the seam allowance. Don't forget those. After you're done with that, just pin it on top of your external fabric that you chose, that hopefully is beautiful enough to be seen by the world, and cut those as well.
Look who's here. Sushi, das mich dreckig gemacht.
Anyway.
Der hat Scheiße. Der hat immer Scheiße. This fabric is very slippery, so I will have to do some basting stitches so it holds in place.
Basting stitches are just loose stitches that hold 2 pieces of fabric together so that they don't slip away. I use always a single thread while doing that, but you can also add a double in case you need a little more substance.
I just poked my finger and now I'm bleeding on the fabric. No, it's white. I'm never getting it off. Look, it's a blood stain.
Here now you can see all of the pieces ready to be sewn.
I think I will complicate my life a little bit more. I bought this satin tape in blue, and I think I will add some perpendicular stripes to the front of the corset. That will be a nightmare to sew. So this is what I mean. These are 2 pieces, 2 frontal pieces, and I will try to make them in this weird pattern. What I would do first is base stitch all of these stripes. Then I will run a stay stitch here to check the front seam to see if everything is matching, and this will take forever. This beautiful mess of yellow yarn. this is the time of truth. It's not bad, but it's not perfect either, so I need to adjust.
Before I waste your time with this video any further, I have to tell you I was not happy with my first endeavor, so I threw it out and I started all over again with a new fabric that I bought the day before because I was freaking out and I went to the store again. Once you know when to give up, and that was the time to give up. Now enjoy in the background 8 hours of footage sped up to 10,000 times. I'm throwing it out. I hate it, and I hate this freaking white fabric. I'll use no interfacing. I will use muslin twice, so I have a really stiff corset because I like my corsets to be almost bulletproof. So there I went, repeating all the steps from the beginning that I will not tell you again because you're a very intelligent person and you know what to do. For the centerpiece, I first set all of the strips where I want them to be. I pinned them all in place. I flipped the first part, the right side facing down, and I added the second part on top of that, and based on the lines that I was seeing, I pinned the other side in place, and that worked out pretty well. I ran a stitch in the middle and the center seam to check that everything was perfect. I sew in a zigzag manner until I have everything ready. So after the failures and chaos from yesterday, now I can finally start over. I have this piece ready and it's looking good. I will lightly base stitch all of these pieces so I can pin them together and sew them all over again. I am not looking forward to this. New days, new headaches. Because I destroyed around 2 needles during this process, instead of using pins, I ran a stay stitch on every single seam of this corset so I don't have any more damage to my beautiful sewing machine.
Because this is the end part, I have sewn this. Here will come the holes for the closure. It's just a basic stitch to make it look pretty. Everything's sewn together now with upholstery yarn so it doesn't rip. I will cut a little bit the curves so I'm able to press the seams open without problems.
When cutting the curvy seams, be careful not to destroy the stitch that you just did. Otherwise you're gonna have to redo them again. If not, they will come undone. When pressing the curves open, use a towel underneath or a tailor's hand. No, not that one. This little cushion thingy. I'm doing that on my hand because I am stupid and I don't have a sense of danger. Seams are pressed open. I'll use a simple bias tape as channeling because I don't have much of the blue fabric. I'm just gonna add this here and hopefully it will stay. Again, here an opportunity to learn from my mistakes. Instead of using the bias tape closed, open it so you can just sew it without problems. I used it closed and I regret every single moment of it. The one in the middle I will sew by hand because I don't want it poking through the beautiful details. So now everything is base stitched and now I will sew it on the machine on the right side because I want these lines to be perfectly parallel to each other. I know that if I sew like following these lines, I will have everything wonky on the outside and the inside doesn't matter to me, as it shouldn't to you either. And I want the outside to be pretty. So let's just say this was a good idea until it wasn't. I did not see that my lines were not even touching the bias tape, so I had to remove everything and start over. Also here, don't forget to base stitch everything, minding the curves and already giving a little bit of shape to your corset. Everything's sewn now. It looks awful from the inside. This middle part that I have sewn by hand looks like my nose, but it's okay, no one will see it. Boning is expensive, but you know what isn't? Zip ties. I'll use again heavy-duty zip ties because I don't feel like spending hundreds of dollars on boning alone. Although they are cheap, they need some preparation. You have to cut the pieces, make it round, and sand it so that it doesn't rip the fabric. Stick them in, measure, pull them out, cut, prepare, and repeat indefinitely.
So now that that's done, I need to cut a strip of fabric to do this finishing. It would be better to do on bias, but I don't have that much fabric, so I will do a thin strip of straight grain. It should work out.
This part you have to sew as close to the border as you can, because the smaller the seam allowance you have, the best this straight strip of fabric will make a curve for you.
Now I just cut all the excesses and finish it by hand.
I had enough space to finish this on the machine instead of by hand, but be careful. Some bonings in the market allow you to sew on top of them, but zip ties, no, they don't. Just don't.
Don't mind the background noise, Steve is cooking. It's sewn and I trimmed with a zigzag scissors the excess of the trim. Now I will install the holes. I have no idea how they're called. Important is not to cut the fabric, but to pierce it with an awl.
I marked the spots for the holes 3 centimeters apart. Then I closed both sides to measure and make sure that they were aligned, and I proceeded to repeat the same on the other side. After that, I took an awl and I stabbed all of those holes in place, always being careful not to rip the fabric.
Well, I'm done now. I really enjoy crazy projects, but this one made me 10 years older. The worst thing that could happen happened when I was installing the rings here. As you can see, it cut the fabric when I was hammering it onto this weird thing, and that means that my corset, if I apply too much pressure to it, it will explode on me. This one fell off completely. You can see the fabric's ripped. Because it's on the back, I'm not giving too much thought about it. I think I'm just gonna sew again another piece of cloth on top of this. So this is the situation. This is bad. This is bad. This is the worst. This bullshit is cursed. So I patched it together with a little bit of fabric here and on the other side. Doesn't look really pretty, but from afar you cannot really notice it. Where I bought the eyes, they sent me the wrong size of rings. You can see that it's way bigger than it should be. That's why it's not holding. So it's not really my incompetence. They delivered the wrong things. This is how it's looking now, and I will drape on the top there with this lace here, because I will be wearing wings, and the wings are like backpacks. They have 2 straps here, and I cannot be bare-shouldered while doing that because otherwise it's going to hurt a lot. So I want to do sort of a bolero thingy.
When draping something, I advise you to maybe start from the back because it's the easier part, and then you can work your front from that. I wanted a simple back piece, and the front piece is pleated, but I made sure to use the fabric in a half bias, if I may say so. It's not 45 degrees, it's not straight grain either. I wanted the fabric to have a better flow, even being stretchy. I think it gave it a better look.
So this is it. This will be tucked in here, that's why it's so short, and this is the back. I think I'm gonna do an open part so I can close with a button. What I need to do is mark all of these creases. I can mark them on the fabric when I cut it. This is the shoulder. This is the muslin pattern, the front and the back. And I will cut it on the fabric.
I also cut it in double layer because I didn't want it to be sheer, and so that I could have beautiful finished armholes and necklines, front and back. And also because I wanted to make sure that I'm hiding the chicken wing situation over here.
So now I'll go ahead to sew these seams together, right sides facing, because then I will just turn it inside out, and this will be then a clean finish instead of me adding trims and anything. And this part doesn't matter because it's gonna be on the inside of the garment. When I sew it, the side seams and the shoulder seams, they will look nice from outside. From the inside, I don't care. Now we will turn them right side out, and now we'll do the pleats. So it's pinned now. I make sure that these sides matches completely, otherwise it's gonna look ugly. This is how it's going to look like sort of just thrown on scarf. This is the back. This will look better when I'm wearing it because this doll doesn't have my measurements anymore. As you can see, it has a straighter ass. Was hast du gegessen? Hast du wieder Müll gegessen? What are you eating? Why do you always have to eat things? So this is what I have for now. There will be no big review this time. Subscribe and I will see you next week. Goodbye.